Hey everyone, Vortex TCG here, and today I'm going to be showcasing you the final game featuring Bagra Army on the channel, at least for now. I don't know how I feel about this deck completely, if I'm being honest. I thought it might be a little bit better, apologies for the camera here. I thought it might be a little bit better because the support, Chikurimon mainly being the main one essentially. But unfortunately, I just don't think the deck is for me, and it doesn't really get much support after this anyway. So we get into the game here. I get a pretty good start here with the Soundbirdmon and the Uemano. Get to trigger the Uemano, and then put the Soundbirdmon underneath. And there's things I like about this deck. I like the fact that this is pretty much the only deck that essentially you have interaction with on your turn, because it essentially stops you from doing certain things like searching cards, digivolving and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, it just doesn't come out as well as you'd think, to be honest. So he goes into the Entmon here, swings and deletes the I can't remember what this guy is, the Twarimon, and then I bring out the Damimon again, because the Twarimon allows me to play it suspended. And then he's thinking what he needs to do for his for the follow-up. Thought he might just attack into it, but I don't think he wants to give me the memory, so he goes to Titamon here. And then he gains a memory for every suspended guy, when he trashes, he can trash up to 3 cards, I believe, and he gains he can suspend as many times as he discards, then he gains a memory for every one there. And he swings to security and hits a Bagramon, and he had a bit of confusion here because he thought that he suspended my Damimon here, which would allow the Titamon to get a little bit more DP, but he didn't. It came out suspended, so he swung into the security, hit a Bagramon, and unfortunately his Titamon stack dies. So he then goes into the Ruli or the Ruri, because Digimon card game can't print cards properly apparently, and he passes his turn. So I then go into the Soundbirdmon, and I'm feeling pretty good at this point. I got 3 underneath the Uemano, so I feel like the follow-up that I'm going to have is going to be really good here. So I bring up the 3, and I'm just considering what I want to do here. So I go into the other Bagramon I have in hand, giving him 5, and then as he has 1 or fewer, I get to look at his hand and discard 1. I'm just checking what I want to discard here, because essentially he has pretty much all he needs. So I thought if there's ever a way he's going to win the game, it's probably going to be through the Lamortmon. So I decided to get rid of the Lamortmon here. So at this point I'm feeling pretty good, and I think my opponent is in a bit of a rough shape. So he plays the Terriermon that he showed, and then he plays another memory boost to suspend, but it doesn't really do anything essentially here. So I push up the Soundbirdmon, swing into security using effects here to go underneath the Uemano to draw a card, then draw and gain a memory from Uemano. And but it's, we're moving, essentially. So I swing with the Bagramon, it doesn't die, so that's pretty good for me. The Bagramon is pretty important to keep up here, because I know he wants to digivolve as much as he can, essentially, so forces him to lose the security. And so at this point, there's only 1 security left, so I'm feeling pretty confident at this point. So I go into the Titamon and add the armed mode, just considering I get to add the Uemano here as well, obviously. Thank you, Titamon, for finding a card that I need. And then I just digivolve into the armed mode, because essentially he's probably going to play a searcher at some point, probably. So gaining the additional draw 2 is very important, but he has to answer this board essentially. So he swings into the Soundbirdmon. I gain a memory and draw a card, because a card went underneath Uemano here. And I get to draw and discard with the Demimera. And then he just hard plays the Chaosmon, because I don't really have an answer, unfortunately. So I go to my turn, I go to the Soundbirdmon, swing with the armed mode, nothing, and swing for game. We then get onto game 2, and I get to start off again. I think my opponent was very unlucky the last game, because I feel if his Titamon stack actually survive that, I think he would be in a pretty good position, quite frankly, because I don't really have a strong answer to a one stack board, essentially. So I get to go on my turn, swing, and then get the additional draw and memory from Uemano. And at this point, I'm just considering what are my options, because I feel pretty far behind. I don't really want to play a lot of things on the board, because I'm sure there's a way that he could potentially suspend things. So it's a bit of a difficult one for sure. And so I'm just considering, like, probably what is the best way to continue this turn. And here what I do is that it's a bit difficult, but I go just for the Titamon to look at the top 4. And the reason why I do this is because it limits his memory, because he's only at 1 and he can't really play anything. So I'm feeling a little bit better, and he knows that, so he suspends the brings out the memory boost for the Choo-Choo, and then I swing into the security and hit Izzy. So it's a bit bad, to say the least. So what I do here is I go and Digicross here for free here, and my opponent was a bit confused here, but basically I just Digicross here, so it doesn't. I don't use the suspended Titamon essentially to evolve from. So he goes into the Titamon here, and then he gets to discard cards to then suspend. So I suspend, and then he's using effects, and he gets to draw. And I think here I get to trigger, I think. I must have forgot about that, which is unfortunate for me, but here I hit the opponent hits it to a match sheeter for me, so pretty good, to say the least. He does have his Titamon up though, so I can't really answer that very well, I don't think. I don't really play that much removal in this deck. I feel that's one of the things that my decks lack quite a bit of, actually. I don't usually play a lot of removal. Maybe that's something I've got to figure out in the future. But what I do here is I go to the armed mode here for 2, because I don't think he's able to suspend it again. And then I pass with another Mad Leomon. I don't think he can answer this board very well, so if he plays a card that searches a card, the turn's pretty much going to turn in my favour, essentially. So he's just considering his options, because at the moment Titamon doesn't really do that much. I believe it has piercing, but again, it's not doing anything crazy. So what he does is he goes to this option card, which I believe allows him to suspend a guy, and then I get to use effects which allow me to trash to draw 2, and then trash to force him to discard a card. And yeah, this is a big misplay from him. Like, I know he gets the draw from the suspend, but it doesn't really do anything here. So I swing at security, nothing bad here, using his effect to draw and then discard here, and then add to Uemano and all that effects. We love this. Bread and butter. So I swing again with the Mad Leo armed mode, swing again with the Mad Leomon, and then go into what I wouldn't expect, Lamortmon for game.